Hi, glad you could join me. Well, today is, what is today? Monday, September 22, 2014, and it's about 5:15 in the afternoon. Here in New England, temperature-wise, probably, I don't know, it feels like about 68 degrees, just like an awesome day, nice and dry. And you could see my menagerie of little circus animals. But to the point, what I want to talk about is what these things are made out of, the materials. Um, my thing's all about materials. And I love working with wood. I love wood. I love cherry, especially walnut, maple, bird's eye, and all kinds of figured woods and all sorts of things like that. But I also work with Corian and PVC and HDU and do all kinds of other things. Basically, wood's cool, but wood is, I'm going to take something like this, and really what I want to do is get it all painted up white and put all of the details and stuff on it, so it doesn't matter really. I mean, does it matter if it's wood or if it's not wood? Well, it does in a sense, because if I use wood, as I tried using wood with this, I didn't want to use expensive wood. I wanted to be cheap, right? We all like to be cheap and save money. So this was a piece of construction 2x10, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to adjust the camera just a little bit. I want to see the view so I can see what I'm showing you. So here I have wood, and if you look closely at the wood, I'm going to put another light on. As they say, I want to shed a little light on that subject. I'm going to move the camera around a little bit. So here we go. I'm right above. I have a light right above overhead here. So you can see there's a lot of a lot of this fuzzy kind of stuff that's hard to clean off. I can grab a piece of 220 sandpaper and right over here I can clean that off. It's not hard, not too hard to clean that off, but it still leaves a rough surface, and I still got to get into all this little detail. Plus, if I take like my horse, where did I put it? My horse that I did, I've actually spent 1 hour sanding this thing, and if you look at it, around the head, the nose, the mouth, the details, it's going to be tough. I mean, the eyeball, I want to get nice detail on that. So I had this idea that maybe I was going to use some of the pink insulation foam. A lot of words that we could use to describe what this is. It's a rigid pink insulation foam that you put in the walls to insulate your house or garage or shed or whatever you want to insulate. It cuts okay. I mean, it's lightweight. It's it's kind of flexible. I could stick my finger into it, sort of. I mean, it doesn't really matter on the back, so it cuts okay. But I end up with try to get this detail in, hoping that you can see it. It's pretty fuzzy here, and I mean, what am I gonna do? Try to sand that? It doesn't sand. I mean, it's really hard to sand that. So I mean, again, and all the detail. If I want to get into the head, there's a lot of fuzzies up around here and in his mane. Tough to get to. So that's a couple of different materials. There was wood, which really was hard to work with. The foam, which is very, very easy to cut, but also pretty hard to work with. Then I get into high density urethane, and let me get a sample of that. I'll show you what I was using. I'll trip all the stuff here. This comes in different weights. What they say, not weight per gravity pulling it towards the earth, but they call it different weights, different densities. This green stuff here is a 15-pound density, and this stuff here is like a 10-pound density, and it's a little bit grainy. I don't know if we can get in on the camera that you can see if it's greeny or not. A little bit greeny, not really bad. But there's different densities, and so I use the green more than anything. It's quite expensive for a 4x8 sheet that is it's a true 1-inch thick. I mean, it's 1 inch. If you measure it, it's 1 inch. It's not like 3/4 or 13 whatevers. It's 1 inch. It's pretty expensive, so it's about I would say adjust this camera just a little bit. Here we go. Yeah, that might be a little bit better. It's about $100 for this brand, and I don't remember the brand, but it's 18-pound HDU, high density urethane. A lot of people call it Sign Foam. Sign Foam is a brand name. So what I did was, and it's very easy to work with. So I took some material that was 1 inch thick, and I wanted to make my animals 1.5 inches thick. So at the thickest point, these are just under 1.5 inches, maybe 50 thousandths under 1.5 inches, but it's really close. So what I did was I took the 1 inch thick material, and I can cut that right down the middle on the bandsaw. It cuts like butter. I mean, it's stable material. It doesn't warp or twist. It just stays right where you do whatever you do with it. I bandsawed it. It doesn't really matter what kind of blade you use. I mean, you could cut this with a butter knife, but it's rigid. It's more rigid. I can't stick my finger into it like I can with Sign Foam, with the whatever this was, pink insulation foam. That I can stick my finger into. This here, pressing the same amount, I can't really press my finger into it. And this is the less dense. The more dense, the green stuff, is just a little bit harder. I can't stick my fingernail into it. So it's resistant to dents and breaks and all that kind of stuff. And from cutting it on the bandsaw, see if we can get my face out of there so you can see the cut from the bandsaw. It's actually not bad. It cuts pretty well. And on the other side of it, you can see I cut it with the bandsaw here. Cutting it with the bandsaw is really a great thing. This is the uncut side. It's just a little grainy, but this is easy to work with. So basically what I did was I took the this stuff here and this stuff here, I glued it together with Gorilla Glue. Let me show you. So I have some leftovers from the trash because I cut out my horse and my elephant and my giraffe, and this is the leftover, the trash that I threw away. And you can see that I just put this together with the Gorilla Glue. I didn't care that it squeezed out. You got to put clamps on it, otherwise the thinner layer, because I used up some of the the 10-pound stuff that I had left over, and I just glued that together with the 15-pound because it's not that much difference. And but what happens is, because this is thin and I had pieces that were 10 by 12 or 13 inches in the middle of the panel, if I had that size panel in the middle of the panel, it kind of bowed out a little bit. So you have to put clamps all the way across, and so that try to control that bow. Doesn't matter that much, because what I did on the CNC machine is I just ran my cutter across and flattened it out, and then flipped it over, and then just started doing my machining on this side. So I had nice and flat on the back, and I get my machining on the top. Worked okay. So in comparison, somebody might say, well, why would I want to spend that much more money? Because the horse, made out of a piece of 2x8, has all of that much work that I have to go through to try to fix it up. Well, if I put 1 hour already into this, and I would say there's easily another 2 hours of work to clean this up. So I would say 3 hours of work just to clean this up, to get it to the point where I want to work with it. And it's still not going to be good enough. It's still going to be, because I sanded the living daylights out of it. I've lost a lot of the detail that I really want to have into it. It's like, so what? Okay, so I did this for $1.25. Big deal. I mean, it saves me nothing except aggravation. So this is going to be firewood. You know, I feed my wood stove with stuff like that. Here's the HDU. Alright, the horse isn't a good idea because my machine malfunctioned and I ended up getting this. So let me do my comparison, not with the horse, but just for kicks. Look at the detail that I got on that horse. I mean, really, I think that looks pretty good. I didn't sand this. I haven't touched this. This is just the way it came off the machine. Haven't done a single solitary thing. Not only that, but the cutter that I used is way worn. I mean, it's so, I couldn't cut my finger with that cutter if I tried. And what did I use for a cutter? Well, I put it away, so I mean, it's just in the drawer. I don't feel like going to get it right now. Maybe another time I might show you that. But I used it's a 3-flute solid carbide tapered ball nose end mill. Where did I buy it? I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm back online because I need to replace it. I need some sharp tools for when I cut wood. If I would have cut this out of a more dense wood like maple, and if I would have had a really sharp, like a brand new tool, this would have been okay. But I can get this results with a really dull tool. Okay, so the lion, you know, my name is Leo. Hi, how are you? And here's my lion. So what's the difference? I mean, look at the face, the head. I don't know if I'm really showing up any of the detail, the fuzzy kind of stuff, and then on the lion, the quality of the detail. But on the lion, I did extremely minimal sanding. Altogether on the lion, I think I have spent maybe 5 minutes. And on the wood lion, I didn't bother. I got aggravated. I didn't want to spend any more time and effort there, so I gave up on the wood. You know, wood's a nice material, but now what I did with the lion here is it's all white. I painted it. So there's nice detail you see on his rump. I don't have the work that I have to go through on the sanding, you know, and even with the grain. And you could take a look at the HDU that I have painted white at this point in time. So the HDU at $100 for a sheet. This whole piece here probably, I don't know. It's let's just put it this way. It's about 10 inches by 12 inches of 1 inch plus another piece of 1 inch that I cut in half and glued it on top. So I'll figure out the cost of that later, and just as a guess, I'm going to say maybe $5 worth of material, 10 at the most. Okay, and so I mean, if you wanted to do some quick math, you could figure it out. 10 inches by 12 inches for a 1 inch thick piece, plus 10 inches by 12 inches for a ½ inch thick piece. Do the math. So there's the lion. I got that. That's ready to be painted. I put the only thing I painted it with was the Zinsser 123 primer. I used spray. I didn't want to use brush on because I didn't want to disturb the detail in there. I mean, you could see the detail. It's really, really good. All the way around. I mean, I did do a little bit of sanding on this before I painted it. I did a little bit of carving in the mouth. I used X-Acto knife. I got a little bit of surface sanding to surface sand, particularly if you can see it here. I don't know if you can see it. Like in the saddle area, you could see the seam where the two pieces were glued together. So that's minimal amount of work. Light sanding with 220 paper is just going to blend that all in. But when I get to the detail and I paint that up, I think it's going to be awesome. So that's the lion. The elephant, you can see the seam a little bit better with the elephant where the glue line was. And this one here, I didn't clamp this. I only clamped it around the edges, and I didn't clamp it. I like to use the wooden carpenters, woodworkers clamps, the one with the two handles. You know, you go like that and it opens the jaws. I think those are great clamps, and those are really good clamps. But I didn't clamp this that way. I only used some spring hand clamps around the outside edge. And what it did was when the Gorilla Glue expanded, it created like a big pocket in there, and a lot of thickness of Gorilla Glue. And then again, but I'm going to sand that and blend that all in. Same thing up there, there's a little seam. I'm going to sand that, and that'll all blend in. It'll be very easy to sand it now that it's even painted and primed. There's some great detail in there. You can see all that detail. And when I paint it, it's really gonna look good. So there's Dumbo, and then I have the giraffe, which I can compare the giraffe to the pink insulation foam. You could see the fuzzies on the pink insulation foam, and you know, a really nice surface here. You don't see the glue line seam quite as much because I did clamp these really well. So there's the detail that I'm going to be working with. You could even see his little area of, you could see it a little bit on the pink insulation, but I wasn't going to win. I wasn't going to win on this. So away it goes, and there's the detail that I'm going to be working with. Going to get the coloration in there. Got his mane. Really, I think it came out to be pretty nice. So that's my giraffe, and the horsey. I had a malfunction in the machine. So what I have is I I know on the forums I mentioned my friend Dan Sawatsky. Dan is a very accomplished theme park sculptor, artist, creator. He's I mean, that guy is like one of the most talented people that I know on the face of the earth. And I don't say that about a lot of people, but he is like really, really, really talented. Learned so much from him just by watching his website and his en route blog, and he's just like so high energy. He runs circles around somebody that's half his age. He's the same age as me, and there's no way I'm going to even try to keep up with somebody like him. But what I learned from him is sculpting, and sculpting is something that it's a great talent, and if we can ever develop that talent, we can take some of the things that we do and just expand and just grow from that and really get better and better at what we do. So I'm just touching, just a little tad, just a little speck of a touch as to what sculpting is. I could take this that was almost destroy this piece, and I use this what's called magic sculpt. It's magic sculpt. Yeah, that's magic sculpt. It's called different names, abracadabra, and I'm going to show you what it is. Sorry for coming and going like that, but this is a two-part epoxy. There's a resin and there's a hardener. It says 2 parts, and inside the containers, I mean, it's not really harmful kind of stuff, but it's almost a little bit sort of kind of like Bondo, kind of sort of, you know. You can use like water on the tools to kind of smooth areas out, and it's a 2-part, so that's 1 part, and this is the other part. You can see what it looks like. I haven't come close to exploring the possibilities of what you can do with something like that, because when I watch and see what Dan does with it, it's like unbelievable. And then for paint, what I did was I took the sign workshop when I went to Indiana in 2013, which is we learned how to